Hey, come here. Let me ask you a question. Why'd you run the light? Don't pretend like you didn't. I knew you were going to do this whole thing where, oh, I didn't see it. I flashed it right into your eyes. I saw the reflection of the light bounce back. And then you were like, oh, trying to avoid it. Yeah, I don't care that you were killing. Yeah, you were doing great. Awesome. But now I have to cut my time. What, like, do you have any sense of how a show works? Do you realize that there's other people going up tonight? Do you think that you're so special that you get to just do whatever you want? You had a 10-minute spot. You did 14 minutes. That's 40% more. Don't do that. I have 100 comics hitting me up every week trying to get on this show. And you bumped everything up. I mean, why not just book one of them? I feel kind of weird making a video about respecting the light and not running the light because it's real basic level stuff, but it's important. And so for the beginners all the way up to the seasoned pros, I just want to explain some of the thinking that goes on behind the light and what it is. So it's usually a light in the back of the comedy club. It's usually red. That'll flash. It'll tell you that you have a minute left, or sometimes 5 minutes left, or 10 minutes left, whatever you request, but also depending on how long you're doing. Sometimes at independent shows or an open mic, it might be a flashlight, or it could be an iPhone, holding up the iPhone and waving it. You always have to respect the light. Respecting the light is respecting the show. It's respecting stand-up. You have to follow that rule. It's like no stealing. You can't steal, you can't run the light. I'm going to go through each level and explain kind of what the unwritten rules are. If you're at an open mic and you're doing a 3-minute spot, if you do a minute over, you're doing a third extra. Don't run the light. Let's say there's 30 people at that open mic, and in my small area, there's been like 30 people at an open mic. If everybody does that, the show goes over by half an hour. The bar's pissed off. There might be a DJ that comes in after, and they're like, what the hell is this? They might cancel the open mic. They might not do it anymore because people are taking advantage. In your head, you're thinking, oh, I went a minute over. That's not a big deal. It adds up for a show. If you're an MC, your job is to entertain, but it's also to give structure to the show, to introduce the acts. Sadly, a lot of times to talk about drink specials and birthdays and some of the upcoming acts. But it's your time to shine as well. If you're not following the basic rules, like don't go over your time, respect the light, they have other options for MCs. Don't shoot yourself in the foot because you're on a roll and you want to finish a bit. If you're a feature act, you can go over a little bit. In a lot of these cases, there's exceptions. Like if you're doing a half an hour, if you go a minute over, that's not a big deal. If you go 2 minutes over, that's not a big deal. If you do 5 minutes more than you're supposed to, the headliner who's got to go up next, they see you get the light. They start to go into, all right, I'm going to get on stage mode. They're getting prepped. Now they have to cool off for 5 minutes while they're waiting, and they're starting to get pissed off. They're like, all right, when is this jackass going to get off the stage so the MC can go up and bring me up? It really affects the show a lot more than you think. Here's another reason why. As an audience member, and maybe it's because I'm a comic, but a lot of audience members are sophisticated now. They know what the light is. Anytime I'm at a show and I see the light go on, I start getting anxious. I'm like, I hope this comic gets off soon. This is the signal. These are the rules. And I'm not able to be fully into the mood of laughter or in that headspace. And the longer it goes and I see the light flashing, I feel like I'm bombing. I get flop sweat. And I'm just sitting there watching the show. All right, Willie, 1 second. You can bite my hand off. If you're the headliner, you have a lot more leeway. If you go 10 minutes over, it depends on the club. You have to check with them. Don't do it in Vegas. I'll tell you that much. I don't know if the rules have changed there, but I heard stories, they're probably exaggerations, but where a comic went 10 minutes over their time, and the guy who runs the casino, runs the entertainment, says, all right, you went 10 minutes over your time. Based on the number of people here in the audience, you owe us $10,000. Because that's how much money they would have lost during those 10 minutes out in the casino. And what are you supposed to do as a comic? You're not going to give him $10,000, right? I probably shouldn't swear at all on this channel, but when I'm playing a mob figure, I like to. It's always better to go under than over. If you do a minute or two under, that's going to be appreciated. Even, especially if you're killing. If you're killing and you do a little bit less time, that's keeping everything on schedule for the show. That's great. If you're killing and you do a minute or two over, that's okay. People will understand. The reason why comics run the light a lot of times is because they want to get off stage to a big laugh. And so they'll do their closing bit and it gets maybe this, and they want to be here. So then they'll scramble in their head, and then they'll try to do something else, and they start bombing, and they can't end on that. So they go into panic mode and they start throwing out all this stuff, and next thing you know, they're 8 minutes over their 20-minute spot. You don't have to do that. You don't have to have a big closing bit. It can literally be, that's my time. Thank you very much. Or, you know what? I don't like to end with a lot of fanfare or a big laugh. That's it. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the show. Sometimes the reason why comics run the light is they don't have a sense of time. It's distorted when you're on stage. And you're in the zone and you may not see the light. So here's what I recommend. Get yourself an Apple Watch or something similar. I'm saying an Apple Watch because I know that this works. And you can get it on eBay used. You don't have to have the latest one with all the gadgets and the latest updates. Get it because you can set a timer and it will vibrate. You don't want it to beep. You want it to vibrate on your wrist to alert you, okay, I have 2 minutes left. That's a super easy way to solve that problem. You'll know exactly where you're at. And you could set different alarms. Okay, I'm 10 minutes into my act. I'm 20 minutes into my act. Okay, I have 5 minutes left. I prefer not to do that because I like to get lost in the moment when I'm on stage, but I have used different watches and stuff like that that will vibrate to let me know, hey, it's about time to wrap it up. The other thing to have in your back pocket is a killer joke that's like maybe a minute or two long, that if you're doing your closer and they give you the light and you still got 3 minutes of the, not 3, but you got 5 minutes of your closing bit left, or you haven't even gotten your closing bit because the laughter throughout your set has screwed up the time, and so you haven't gotten to all your bits, have that 1 or 2 minute bit or joke that, that you can just throw out there, and that way you can end on a laugh. And always keep that, don't, unless you need to throw it out there because you're bombing, always try to keep that in your back pocket so you have an out. That way you can end on a laugh and get off stage on time with dignity. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. I make a video every day. I'm doing it for 100 days in a row. It comes out 7 days a week, 11 a.m. Eastern, and that's it. All right, glad you found this channel, you light runner.